Coming up, Motorhead Garage shows how hybrid fuel injection can help you. We add great sound to a great truck, and we go inside a high-tech portable paint booth. Plus, a stop in hot rod heaven. Next. Welcome to Motorhead Garage, presented by Top Coat. You know, whether your preference is a Harley or a Hemi, chances are you are looking for better performance all the time. And when you're talking performance, well, we've got one of the coolest innovations maybe to hit engine development in maybe 30 years. And that's where our friend Reggie comes in. Reggie, you've really discovered, I guess, hybrid fuel injection. Tell me how that works.
Well, it's called hybrid because we're taking the old method of injecting fuel through a venturi via a carburetor, and we are marrying it to the new method, which is the high pressure fuel injection. And it turns out that when you do those two things together in the right way, there's just some stunning results that can happen. It's amazing that someone didn't think of it a long time ago, but that's what we've discovered here.
Well, how does it work?
Well, what it does is it uses the power of the airflow in the center of the port to create a low pressure signal at the tip end of this Dynoblade. And that allows for air and fuel to be driven down a venturi that runs down the length of the blade. So by the time the fuel gets to the end, it turns into vapor. So a good fuel injector will inject fuel into tiny particles, and it's atomized, but it's still liquid. So we are doing phase changing into a vapor. Now, the key thing that happens here is that we're not using waste heat to vaporize the fuel. We're using the dynamics of the airflow. So the heat that transfers instantaneously into the fuel comes from the air charge. So the air charge gets cool, as we all know. That's always good, right, for more performance? Power. It's like an intercooler inside the engine, only in this time, it's in every single cylinder. So we're intercooling each and every cylinder, and we get this nice vapor, which is very homogeneous. We get very complete combustion. Efficiency goes up in all areas, including wide open throttle.
And what kind of efficiency are we talking about? How much?
Well, at wide open throttle, we are seeing anywhere, horsepower is 3 to 8, 9%. Torque is usually a little bit more, 4 to 10% increase. But the key thing here, one of the most interesting things that we have learned, is that at part throttle, say at 25% throttle, we are seeing as much as 3 to 4 times the percentage gain that we are getting at wide open. Now, most aftermarket products would either do nothing to part throttle, or it would degrade it. So that is indicative of better fuel economy, obviously, when you can get those kind of numbers. And that also speaks to the throttle response that our customers see, because it's just absolutely trick throttle response that you get. Drivability is phenomenal.
I know that's key because you often give up drivability for performance at the top end. Exactly. And who's running with the throttle wide open all the time anyway?
Right, exactly. So where you are using the vehicle all the time, and this is why I can go right into the other part of what we're offering, is for fleet applications. If someone's got a special application, we could design something for them. If you have a race team, okay, and you're looking for a special application, we can do that for you as well. And then, of course, we have the products that we're offering to the public.
Now, that's going to take some major surgery to put that in, isn't it?
You would think so, but it's a super easy install. 10 to 15 minutes. If you could change an air filter, you can do this. And once you're done doing it, it's tunable.
How adjustable is it?
It's quite adjustable, and with this indexing plate, you're able to adjust it precisely. We will be able to get you in the ballpark so that you can get 90% of what it's going to do, but if you really want to fine tune it, you put it on the dyno and get 100% of what it's going to put out for your particular application. So at Eccentric Innovations, what we are doing is making do-it-yourself aftermarket performance great again.
Well, you can find out more about hybrid fuel injection. Check them out at dynoblade.com. We will be right back with more Motorhead Garage presented by Top Coat right after this.
Motorhead Garage, presented by Top Coat, is brought to you by Magic Creeper, the most versatile creeper ever. Custom Autosound, the originator of classic car OEM radio since 1977. Thaler Speed and Performance, high-quality automotive parts at a fraction of the cost. And by Top Coat, make life easier.
You are watching Motorhead Garage presented by Topcoat, and you are looking at a really cool 2011 Ford F-150. It's been modified a little bit. It's a 3.5 liter V6, but it has a twin turbo and it makes over 600 horsepower. That thing is the epitome of technology. And when it comes to audio for your car, the epitome of technology is custom Autosound. Now we'll talk about the Ford F-150 in just a minute, because I know what you're thinking. When we talk custom Autosound, we're usually talking about classic cars. For your 1950s street rod or your 1960s muscle car, something like that. You want a car that looks original, but you still want the modern conveniences. You want Bluetooth, you want a CD player, you want all kinds of audio features, you want great sound, because let's face it, back in the 1950s and 60s, you had very cool cars, but the sound technology was terrible. And these days, everybody wants the creature comforts. You want hands-free and Bluetooth, and that's where custom Autosound comes in. If you look at their website, they have all kinds of makes. I count 18 different makes of cars, over 400 different models they custom make audio systems for. If you look on their website and you can't find what you're looking for, they have universal radios as well that look great. They look period correct for your car, and it'll still look like a classic. Here's what I like also. They have a secret audio radio. You can keep the original radio in the dash. No one will ever know that you have an updated, super cool sound system in there, that you have Bluetooth, you have all the capabilities of a new radio. You keep the integrity of it. You can still show the car, and no one will know the difference. Custom Autosound also makes speakers. They even have Kenwood speakers for you. They have kick panel speakers that you can put in your car if you so choose. Also have some speakers that are stealthy. They hide under the seats, and again, no one will ever know. They'll still think the classic car has been untouched and looks original. Another cool speaker I really like are these bullet speakers. They look period correct from the 1950s. They look right out of a 57 Chevy or something like that. You can mount them anywhere you want. We've done them on armrests in the back seats. We've done them under the dash. We've done them in the dash because they can take the place of one of the vents. Of course, everything from custom Autosound looks great, and that's the idea. It also sounds great, and that's what you need in a sound system. But you got to wonder, are they just making this for looks, or is this something that's going to last? Well, I think it's going to last as long as your car, because they put it through all kinds of rigorous tests before it leaves the factory. There is a temperature aging test, extreme temperature test. You have your car out in the heat, or if you live someplace where it's cold, of course, your radio is going to be put to the test, and they test it all there before it leaves the factory. There's also a vibration test, so you know that that muscle car engine is going to try to shake that thing loose and shake it right out of the dash. Not so much with custom Autosound. It gets tested before you get it in your hands. And customization. Anything you want, they have technicians on site who can make your radio or your slide bar radio fit perfectly with your car based on the make and model without doing any modifications to your car. The key word in custom Autosound is custom. They have something to suit any one of your needs, which brings us back to this Ford F-150. So of course, under the hood, the owners have done all kinds of mods, but they want a little better sound system, and that is where the System 1 Amplified comes in. This is an amplified subwoofer, and in this truck, we are going to hide it under the back seat. Custom Autosound takes care of everything for you. Let's take a look and see how it goes in. Custom Autosound makes everything super simple to install. The instructions are easy to follow, and really the procedure is not that hard to begin with. Now, the first thing you want to do anytime you're working with anything electrical in your car is disconnect the battery. That'll protect you, and that'll protect your equipment should something happen. And speaking of the battery, this is the inline fuse that you'll want to install with your custom Autosound system. This is what it looks like. We're going to install this as close to the battery as we can. That way, if you have any sort of power surge, that will protect your system from any kind of damage. Now let's get to the install here. 3 wires. This is the first thing we're going to do. This is the ground here on the front, so we'll install that. And then we have 2 more wires to connect as well. The second one is for all your accessories. That is our blue wire here. And we will just screw that into the front. The third wire is the power. It's the constant power that goes to your custom Autosound system. By the way, this speaker here is going to be tucked underneath the seat here. We haven't put the legs on it, but there are rubber feet that you can put on it, and that makes sure it doesn't slide around, and it'll stay right in place under your seat. No one will ever know it's there unless you flip it up like this. All right, now those 3 wires are in. The next thing we want to do, and this is sort of like a phone cord, we connect it in the back here for the remote for our system here, for our subwoofer. And here is what that remote looks like. You can mount it up under your dash, and it's a simple dial. You can increase the level if you want to vibrate your passenger right out of the vehicle. You can turn it as high as you want. Or if you want something nice and mellow, you can just keep it nice and low. It's completely adjustable. Now, I mentioned the bullet speakers earlier. We have a couple of those here, and this is the plug for those into the custom Autosound subwoofer. You can position these speakers, like I said, anywhere you want to. It just so happens in the F-150 there are round vents. We're going to replace a couple of those with these bullet speakers. They're going to look great and they're going to sound terrific. We also have space with this wiring harness for 2 more speakers if you want to place them somewhere else in the vehicle. Up next, the RCA cables coming from the stereo into the subwoofer here. You just plug both of those in here to the subwoofer, and we are ready to go with our custom Autosound system. If you have a car, and I suspect you do if you're watching this program, then Custom Autosound has something for you. Whether it is a new F-150 or an old classic car, you're going to love what they have for you. Check them out at CustomAutosoundMFG.com. We'll be right back with more Motorhead Garage presented by Top Coat, coming right up.
Motorhead Garage, presented by Top Coat, coming to you from Borla Commerce Park.
Welcome back to Motorhead Garage, presented by Top Coat. Just putting the finishing touch on a project here. In the meantime, why not take a look at our sister show? This is Kathy Fisher from Performance TV.
If you are a painter, if you are building something and you really need a clean room, well, that's what we have for you here today with our friends from Mobile Environmental Solutions. And Tom, we're so used to seeing your bigger unit that you bring in. What size is that again?
That one's our 23 by 15. That's our most popular size. That's the one that you can put a crew cab short bed truck in, almost every style car. And then we build a 30 by 15 that's just one section longer.
And of course we know about the really big ones. I mean, you guys are even involved in the aviation industry.
Absolutely. We build them big enough for the military to put Apache helicopters in. We build them for the trucking industry to build semis in, semi-trailers.
Right.
You name it, we can build it for it.
Well, you know, just thinking about that, I'm thinking about aviation and even smaller stuff. You know, if you had like an RC airplane or whatever, you guys have exactly what we need. Now, there are 2 different sizes here today, but they're much smaller and more compact.
Correct. What we brought today was our 10 by 10 and then our 12 by 12. And it's the nice thing about it is it just takes up a very small footprint. But let's say you need a clean room for engine building or anything like that.
Right.
Or you just need to spray parts or something. You don't want to get your whole shop trashed up. You want to keep your environment clean and be environmentally friendly.
These do not take that long to put up, and especially the smaller sizes, they're going to go up really quick.
They go up less than a couple minutes. They each run off a 110 blower.
Okay.
You just turn around, hook it up, air it up, and you're ready to go.
Just like your other units and the bigger ones that we've seen. They're made out of material that's really going to last right here in the USA.
Correct. It is. It's 100% vinyl. It passed the NFPA's Method 1 to Method 2 test method. Each booth passes OSHA's airflow requirements. Like for an example, the 10 by 10 that's right behind you, that one has 72 air changes an hour.
72.
72. That's moving a lot of air.
Yeah, it is. Absolutely. And like you said, they both run on 110. They both have one blower, and we can also take them outside.
And they are made for outside. They've got D-rings where you can stake them down. They've got D-rings up on the top corners if you want to hang them from a carport, if you want to use them indoors and hang them from the rafters. I mean, the options are limitless.
Wow, you know, what about with the wind and stuff outside? I mean,
that's the neat thing about our design is we have a U-shaped foundation that makes it extremely stable. And then once you stake it down, it's going to be even more stable in the upper, higher wind environments.
We've seen them go up. How about storage?
The neat thing about it is you turn around, you pull the plug, you let the air out, and you can have it rolled up within 10 minutes easily.
I've seen the bigger ones, you know, go up and the guys move those around. With these being smaller, how much do they weigh?
The one right behind you is about 120 pounds, and you can turn around, it's going to roll up no bigger than a big sleeping bag.
Oh gosh, that's really not that big of a deal at all. You can just move it right around, be able to take it out on the job, or keep it inside your building if you need that special place to work. Now, what type of warranty do you guys have on these?
Each booth comes with a 1-year stitch-to-stitch warranty, and the neat thing about it is if you mess up a panel, if you mess anything up, each panel is replaceable, so your structure's not compromised.
That's going to make a big difference because unfortunately accidents do happen and you need to be able to repair something like that. And you guys, with being right here in the United States, it's real easy to get in touch with you if we have any issues.
It is very easy. We're all over social media. We're all over our website. We have reps all across the United States, and the booths are made here in the United States. So you know if the service is going to be taken care of after the sale.
Absolutely. What other uses can you see for smaller units like this? I mean, I know you've come across some other industries as well.
We've got guys, a lot of people are looking at using it ceramic coating, you know, where you need to get that paint perfection. You need that paint to be perfect before you apply that ceramic coating.
Right.
You know, it's a lot of stuff is doing window tint. We've got a company that does bulletproof window tint that has to have a clean room, has to have a clean environment, and these are perfect for them.
Tom, give us an idea of some of the success stories that your customers have had with your units.
I just met with an auction house last week that they're going through an extremely big remodel. I mean, obviously you can imagine used cars running through auction and lease returns, that they couldn't just turn around and slow down their production to make their reconditioning center bigger. So they purchased 3 booths and they used them when they were going through their remodel. It lasted about 6 months, but it helped them achieve their $75 million budget. Something like that's pretty huge. The booths paid for themselves within a week or two. And I mean, something like that is a pretty big feather to put in our hat.
You know, and a lot of people have been able to start a mobile business because of having a unit such as yours. And now with the smaller units, this is just amazing. It opens up even more for people just like you.
Now, to check the mechanical integrity of your engine, a fast and easy and efficient way to do it is a compression reading, man. This is the way to go. And it's really simple to do. Just warm your temperature up to operating temperature. Then we went ahead and disabled the primary side of the ignition system. Another thing you need to do is go ahead and block your throttle wide open so you know you don't have any restrictions of air going into the system. Also, if you have drive-by-wire, be careful with that. Read your service manual. You don't want to go messing with the throttle when you're doing that stuff. So then it's simply just take all the spark plugs out. I got them all loose here and one off, so I'm going to go ahead and pull one out. Good time to look at it and read your spark plug while you got it out of there. Take the compression gauge installer, put it in there. Really simple to do. Screw it in there into the cylinder you're going to check, and then I'm going to come back and clip on the actual compression gauge. Once I got the compression gauge secure in there, I can go ahead. We have an assistant inside the car. We're going to crank it over with 4 puffs, 4 compression cycles. So if you could give me 4 puffs, that would be great. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now look at that, we got $1.50. That's good compression. Now, if we didn't have compression, we'd have to go and diagnose it. But this is a good way to check the mechanical integrity of your engine.
Always nice to see Kathy Fisher, and always nice to have you with us. We have a lot more Motorhead Garage presented by Top Coat coming up right after this.
Motorhead Garage, presented by Top Coat, is brought to you by Stage 8 Fasteners, home of the world's best locking header bolt. Locking kits now available for all turbo applications. Go to stage8.com. 3D Mats, redefine protection. Jones Performance Products, the finest in fiberglass truck hoods and the home of truck rods. And by NH Oil Undercoating, the official oil-based rust prevention system.
Welcome back to Motorhead Garage presented by Top Coat. You know, we get to take a lot of really cool field trips throughout the year, and one of our favorites is the NSRA Nationals, National Street Rod Association, and that is in Louisville, Kentucky. Wall-to-wall hot rods everywhere, and some of the coolest cars you will ever see. The first thing you see when you come down the escalator is the Builder Showcase. The very first car is this 1963 Buick Riviera. Justin Nichols is responsible for this magnificent vehicle. You are an artist. What is it about the 63 that you love so much?
I love the way the 63 Riviera came out when it was new, and I didn't want to change too much of it, but you look at cars and change and tweak, and I want to design it like I did it back in the day.
What are some of the subtle tweaks you made?
So we ripped the whole bottom of the car out. New chassis, new floor, made it all nice and flat, lowered the tunnel so we could do a nice console in there. We chopped it 1.5 inches. We shortened it 1 1/4 inches. So you can't really tell, but if you park it next to another one, you're gonna notice.
Looks pretty mean under the hood. What do you got going on there?
It's a LS motor. We put the Borland injection on there. Runs like a top, man, just hauls butt.
I love the wheels.
We got 20s up front and 22s in the back, so we obviously had to do some metal work in there to get them to fit, but it gives it a nice aggressive look.
It looks great from the outside, but it also looks great on the inside. Who's responsible for the interior?
We did that in our shop. Voss Upholstery came down. We knocked it out because we had a really tight deadline, did it there, and we put a 58 T-Bird dash, T-Bird seats in it, grafted it all the Riviera stuff, and it looks like it belongs.
I see the door handles are kind of stealthy there. So are the taillights. What are some of the other little Easter eggs you have on this car?
So we reworked the whole thing. The bumper's got a lot of metal work in it. It doesn't really look like it. We hand-built this splitter on the front. We put some aero stuff all the way around the car. We didn't want to really make it pro touring looking, but we wanted it to look aggressive and just look like it's mad at you just sitting there.
Mission accomplished. What is it like when you set out to design a car like this and to have it pop off the page and become reality?
We're lucky enough in our shop right now to have awesome customers that kind of let us do what we want to do and design what we want to do. They tell us what they want, like what to start with, and then I give them, a few different options. Usually it's the first one, which is right out of my head and the one that I like too. So it works out pretty good and we get to build some cool stuff.
One of the coolest thing about these street rods here at the NSRA Nationals is the blending of the classic look with the modern technology. And there's no better example than this 1968 Camaro that you guys have done. James, tell me about this car.
Well, it's all the creature comforts of a brand new Camaro in the 68 chassis. The engine's from a 13 Camaro SS. It's a supercharged 656 horsepower car. Great suspension. The brakes are out of also a newer Camaro SS, even the seats. So 2019 SS seats. So in this old chassis, you have both heating and air conditioning in the seats. The car has its own wireless access point, so you can stream your music. Currently connected always to the internet. So one of the things we did is hook the baffling of the exhaust up to the car. So as you're either pushing a button to perform or if the car's smart enough to know if you're getting into it a little bit, it will open up the exhaust baffling. But after you're coming home after a late night, we geo-fence the owner's neighborhood. So it closes the baffles on the exhaust and quiets the exhaust down as he's coming home. All the lights are digital, they're active, so just like your modern cars, as you're hitting the turn signals, they'll move. They've been tucked behind the bumpers, unlike older cars, so really old chassis, but brand new everything else on the car.
What do folks say when they see this from 20 feet away? And how does that change when they get closer?
Yeah, they ask a lot if we darken the bottom of the car. There's so much flake and pearl in the paint that depending on where that light's hitting the car, it really does look like it's multiple colors, but it's not. It's just almost 80% of the paint in the can going on to the car was metal and flake versus liquid.
You see a classic Camaro when you look at it from the outside, but you poke your head inside. What kind of reaction do you get from people when they do that?
So they ask a lot of questions about the interior. A lot of the components inside the car were handmade or cut out of a water jet. So the surrounds around the upgraded speaker system, the door handles, the door pulls, a lot of the center console, all those things are one-off and custom to this car. There's ambiance lighting and things of that like a newer car would have. You're basically stepping into a brand new 2020 nostalgic Camaro.
This car's certainly deserving of being here. What's it like to be in the company of all these other great hot rods here?
Not bragging, this is kind of where we play. The car debuted earlier this year at the Pirelli Grade 8 show. Took first in class for Pro Street, then COVID shut everything down, but this is the next show that it's able to come out, and we're hoping for a good return in the Builder Showcase.
Well, that is going to do it for this episode of Motorhead Garage presented by Top Coat. We are certainly glad that you came along for the ride. Now, if you miss us during the week, be sure to check out our Facebook page, see what we are up to, and if you have something you'd like to see featured on Motorhead Garage, email Jeff at masterstv.com. By the way, we also have a YouTube channel with all kinds of great shows on there. You can check that out at Masters Entertainment Group on YouTube. Until next week, we will see you from our Borla Studios and our entire crew. So long.